এন্টার করা স্টুডিওতে এন্টার করা আছে ব্যাকসেজ দেখাচ্ছে আমাদের
Hello and a very good evening. It's Saturday and what a Saturday this has been. For the past so many days the speculation had been कि आज इलेक्शन का डेट अनाउंस हो जाएगा, आज हो जाएगा, कल हो जाएगा, परसों से इलेक्शन शुरू हो जाएगा, उसके बाद 2024 में सत्ता किसके हाथ में जाएगा. इतने सारे सवाल जो लोगों के मन में थे, दिमाग में थे, और आज के तारीख में वो सारे सवाल का जवाब मिल गया. एटलीस्ट इलेक्शन कब शुरू होगी, कौन कौन सी तारीख में इलेक्शंस है, और आप कब अपना मतदान करेंगे. The poll schedule has been announced by the Election Commission of India. To decode this election schedule and to decode how it starts for Lok Sabha election 2024, I am joined by very senior journalist Ms. Shikha Mukherjee. Shikha ma'am, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Why aren't you smiling?
I'm not smiling because the poll date, 7 phase, we all expected it. It's so predictable. And the fact that it's stretching from phase 1, 19th of April to the 4th of June. I mean, this is really keeping the country in suspended animation.
True that, but I don't tell me you had expectation that it would be a single phase election all across, or it would be a 2-phase or a 3-phase election. Come on, in 2014 there were 9 phases, ma'am.
I know. The problem is that I keep hearing all this. The reason is very simple, and I'll very quickly go through them. One, here I am on this morning. I woke up to a message from the Prime Minister's office on my phone asking me my views on Viksit Bharat. Viksit means it is already developed. It is already an advanced nation. So, in an advanced nation, this 9-phase, 8-phase, 7-phase, under almost martial law kind of conditions, why are we holding elections in the dance of democracy, in the world's largest democracy? I mean, there are so many contradictions in all this, number one. Number two, if this is the image of Viksit Bharat, then I am ashamed as a citizen. Well, I am ashamed. And the third reason, and let me put it to you like this, is this election, the election commissioner has made 3 very important statements. Number one, criminal activity, all kinds of criminal activity, he's going to keep a close watch on. Muscle power and money power. He does make the point that in some states it's muscle power, in some states it's money power. Problem is, money power, what is it going to do about the electoral bonds? That's money power multiplied. So that's one contradiction which I am not getting. Number two is he talks about no muscle power, no violence. He's zero tolerance to violence. But if you are going to hold an election where the presence of the paramilitary forces, security forces, is so in your face, it's so intense, it just suggests that muscle power, instead of being tackled within the political system, is having to be tackled outside the political system. Now that, in a Viksit Bharat, is a shame. Okay, I think I've vented my spleen enough. There is a third point which I'll take on.
It's okay. For me, you are very serious. You are angry, and as you rightly said, this is dance of democracy. We are all set to dance now. As journalists, this is our face now. Travel, meet with people, find out issues, literally dance in this scorching heat, and no sunscreen would ever work. No matter how much.
Who cares?
Who cares? That is the reason I'm smiling. And I'm also smiling because in 2014 9 phases, in 2019 7 phases, and in 2024, as predictable, more or less it has stayed the same, and it's happening on 7 phases. Ma'am, you spoke about something very interesting. Shikha Mukherjee has spoken about something very interesting, which is money power. Money power, and the election commission has taken strong note of it and said money power बर्दाश्त नहीं किया जाएगा. तो थोड़ा money power के बारे में बात करते हैं. According to election commission, ma'am, you're listening with me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, money power. Total 3,400 crores. 340 रुपए नहीं, 3,400 करोड़ रुपए सीज किया गया इलेक्शन कमीशन के द्वारा पिछले 11 इलेक्शंस में और पिछले 11 असेंबली इलेक्शंस में. आप जानते हैं पिछले 11 असेंबली इलेक्शंस कहां हुए? राजस्थान, तेलंगाना, गुजरात, त्रिपुरा, छत्तीसगढ़, नागालैंड, मध्य प्रदेश, हिमाचल प्रदेश, मिजोरम, मेघालय एंड कर्नाटका. अभी गेस कीजिए.
He's Tamal. He says 11. He says 11. But my problem is that in that same phase, in that same period, look at the other states which went to the polls. Uttar Pradesh, Punjab. So how does the money power play out there? Is he trying to tell me that in all these states there is neither muscle power nor violence? It's a utopia in those states, and all the rest of the states are dystopian.
अच्छा रुक जाइए मैम, रुक. No, I will not use such words. Ma'am. But even if I go by the data which has been shared by Election Commission, even if I go by the data, forget Uttar Pradesh or keep Uttar Pradesh aside or keep Punjab aside, Gujarat, 802 CR, 802 करोड़ रुपए सीज किए गए गुजरात इलेक्शन में. कौन जीता? बीजेपी. राजस्थान 704 करोड़, कौन जीता? बीजेपी. तेलंगाना 778 करोड़, कौन जीता? कांग्रेस. त्रिपुरा 45 CR सीज्ड, कौन जीता? बीजेपी. छत्तीसगढ़ 78 CR, कौन जीता? बीजेपी. नागालैंड 50 CR, कौन जीता? अलायंस ऑफ बीजेपी. मध्य प्रदेश 332 CR, कौन जीता? बीजेपी. मिजोरम 123 CR, neither BJP nor Congress. Himachal Pradesh, Congress 57 CR seized. Karnataka, Congress 384 crore seized. The point is, when the election commission was asked, what action have you taken after seizing so much of money? No answer. कोई जवाब नहीं.
देखो जवाब कैसे आएगा, क्योंकि जवाब तो इलेक्ट्रल बॉन्ड्स में छुपा हुआ है.
अयो, अभी असलियत बाहर आ रहा है धीरे धीरे.
Because if you just forget it, this is cash transfers, right?
हाँ.
ये तो बैंक ट्रांसफर्स हैं in thousands of crores.
हाँ.
And ये thousands of crores एक पार्टी को सबसे ज्यादा मिला है. हाँ. Almost half the electoral bonds, the beneficiary has been one party, which is the BJP.
हाँ.
The election commission knows very well that the Supreme Court has said that this electoral bonds are illegal. हाँ. तो इसी क्या करेगा अब? बोलेगा पैसा वापस दो, पैसा वापस दो.
आप मुझे बताइए, आप कुछ ईबी खरीदे कि नहीं खरीदे?
अरे वो कैसे खरीदे, पैसा कहाँ है?
क्या बात करें, विकसित भारत में आपका थोड़ा सा कंट्रीब्यूशन नहीं होगा? वो भी सफेद मनी से. विकसित भारत पे विकास हो रहा है, विकास में
वो तो हम टैक्सेस दे ही रहे हैं, जीएसटी भर रहे हैं, और कितना भरें?
नहीं देते रहिए.
नहीं आई एम देखो, मेरा लॉटरी तो लगने वाला नहीं है. ये लॉटरी
से याद है, लॉटरी भी कंट्रीब्यूट किया है. लॉटरी वाले ने भी कंट्रीब्यूट किया है.
बिगेस्ट अमाउंट।
बिगेस्ट। हाँ
हाँ, तो मेरी तो लॉटरी है नहीं, जिसकी लॉटरी लगती है वो तो बीजेपी है। अब
ने,
जिसकी
ने,
लॉटरी लगी तो वो उसको पैसा मिला। अब इसी हमें बताएं कि ये जो मनी पावर के बारे में ये इन्होंने आज इतना लंबा चौड़ा बोल दिया,
हम्म
तो ये जो पीछे का ये जो पैसा है,
हम्म
इसका क्या होगा?
हम्म ये
इसका तो
सीजर
कोई,
का पैसा, ये सीजर का
इसका
पैसा।
हिसाब हमें चाहिए, क्योंकि ईसी के वेबसाइट में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है कि ईसी के वेबसाइट में सब डिस्क्लोज करो, खुल्लम खुल्ला ईसी के वेबसाइट में सब इंफॉर्मेशन हमें मिलना चाहिए। तो
हाँ
ईसी का एक जिम्मेदारी तो बनता है।
नहीं, बट मैम अगर ये पैसा सीज किया गया है तो ये इसमें थोड़ा सा शेयर तो कॉमन पीपल को मिलना चाहिए, और
नहीं,
हमें ना मिले।
ये देखो, ये जवाब बाद बाद में आएगा। लेकिन इलेक्शन कमीशन जब कह रही है कि मसल पावर और मनी पावर पे हम अब इस बार हम पूरा नजर डालेंगे, इसको होने नहीं देंगे, तो हमसे हमें यही पूछना है कि पहली बार अभी तक जो इलेक्ट्रल बॉन्ड से पैसा मिला है, उसका क्या होगा? आपने हमें हिसाब तो दिखा दिया, लेकिन वो जो हजार हजार करोड़ एक एक पार्टियों को मिला है, उसका कौन हिसाब मुझे देगा? दे मुझे
नहीं नहीं,
इलेक्शन।
वो तो छोड़ दीजिए मैम, जो
नो,
पैसा चला
पैसे
गया
कौन
अभी
दे?
वो सब्सिडीज भी है, वो मिलने से रहा। लेकिन मेरा सवाल इतना सा है, अगर इलेक्शन कमीशन ने 3,400 करोड़ सीज किया, ये पैसा के लिए किस किस को रेप्रीमांड किया, कौन कौन से पॉलिटिकल पार्टी से ये पैसा कनेक्टेड है, उसके
अरे
ऊपर
कुछ
व्हाइट
भी
पेपर
नहीं,
क्यों नहीं देगा?
ये तो कुछ भी, यही तो कह रही हूँ कि इलेक्शन कमीशन जिम्मेदार है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी इलेक्शन कमीशन को इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड्स केस में जिम्मेदार कर रखा है। तो
हाँ
कहां से, तो जवाब कहाँ है कि पैसे जा कहाँ रहे हैं? ये सब पैसे किसके खाते में? ये तो इलेक्शन कमीशन, अगर इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड्स पार्टीज इन कैश नहीं करती हैं, तो वो पीएम फंड में जाता है पैसा। अब
हम्म
पीएम फंड्स का तो आरटीआई होता नहीं है,
हम्म
तो हमें ये भी नहीं पता कि पैसा कहाँ गए।
हम्म
तो ये जो पैसा का जो चक्कर है, मुझे लगता है इलेक्शन कमीशन अगर समझदार होती तो ये मनी पावर और मसल पावर के बारे में इस बार कुछ नहीं बोलने से उसे फायदा होता।
कुछ नहीं मैम, अगर ज्यादा सवाल पूछ लेते तो एक शायरी और निकल आता। आज तो धराधर
आई नो,
देन धनाधर,
आई नो,
दे धराधर आज शायरी निकला है। The other
totally
side, and we
disgusting.
appreciate that. We appreciate that.
I
In all
don't.
fairness,
I don't.
no, no.
That is because this is public money and public time. You want to write poetry, go and do it at a mushaira. I'm not here to be entertained. The country is not waiting to be entertained by the election commission. This
Hmm.
is serious business. Who
And
does
and
all
the
this
very,
nonsense?
this time he tried
This is
stressing on the
in a
fact that,
Viksit country. Who does
हाँ
all this nonsense? Entertainment हो रहा है यहाँ पे।
नहीं नहीं, मेरा तो दिमाग में इतना सही चल रहा था कि 15 लाख तो मिले नहीं। इन 3,400 करोड़ से अगर कुछ 10 रुपए, 20 रुपए, 5 रुपए, 100 टका कुछ मिल जाता तो बहुत शांति मिलती। चलो कुछ तो मिला है। अभी फिर हाल ही में 100 रुपए गैस में कम हो गया, अभी पेट्रोल डीजल में भी थोड़ा पैसा कम हो गया, तो मुझे लगा इसमें से भी कुछ शेयर अगर मिल जाते तो कुछ तो मिलता, कुछ तो मिलता। आई नो।
No, see, this is all becoming very trivial. I'm not willing to have my election made into a trivial issue. This is too important for me. क्योंकि सरकार कैसे चलेगी, हमारी देश कैसे चलेगी, लोग कैसे रहेंगे, खुशहाली होगी या नहीं होगी, उनको उनको आज कई दो तीन दिनों से देख रहे हैं कि खाद्य सामग्री का दाम बढ़ रहा है। इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? दिस इज अ कंट्री जहां पे मैलन्यूट्रिशन इतना ज्यादा है कि इट इज द वर्ल्ड्स वर्स्ट। अगर
Ma'am, all
खाद्य सामग्री का दाम बढ़ता है तो ये जो लोग खाना नहीं खरीद पा रहे हैं, डिस्पाइट 80 करोड़ गरीब कल्याण अन्न योजना, इनका हाल क्या होगा, ये भविष्य में इसका असर क्या पड़ेगा, इसके बारे में सारा दुनिया चिंतित है। लेकिन अगर हम शायरी और एंटरटेनमेंट के फिक्र में हम डूब जाएं तो ये हमें समझ में नहीं आएगा कि देश भविष्य में क्या होगा।
ma'am, also very significant, very significant. Before I get into schedule, I know your time is very precious today. The election commission was actually asked a very pointed question, that when you talk about hate speech, and you have been very, very, you said you're going to be very stringent this time as far as hate speeches are concerned. It should be healthy discussion, but not personal attack, blah, blah, blah. And there it was asked, opposition parties have mostly complained that it's not MCC, but Modi Code of Conduct. That when Prime Minister Modi or Union Home Minister Amit Shah or some BJP leader indulges in hate speech, no action is being taken by Election Commission. But when opposition parties do something, they are pulled up, they are reprimanded, either they are barred from, campaigning for a day. To which there was no convincing answer. To which he said that we will take every action possible. Do you
I
find that
mean,
convincing?
no, of course I don't. Just as I find it very, very, very peculiar and very disturbing that the election commission actually said, and please note that we tend to overlook this, but what the election commission is saying is an extremely serious issue. The election commission says that on the international border they are going to use drones
Yes.
to monitor what? In other words, are they suspecting that across the border people are going to come in and disrupt the election process? Is that what they're saying?
That also raises question on BSF.
No, not just the BSF, Tamal. It raises a question of the integrity of India's election
True.
process.
True.
And the election commission says that it is going to use drones. Fair enough. If you're going to use drones, identify the nature and the magnitude of the expected interference in India's electoral process. I need to know. This is
Let,
such a serious allegation. This is such a serious matter that the election commission is suspecting that some other country is going to interfere in India's election process. That is what he's saying. This is
uh,
very, very important.
it is very, very important that you're trying to use drones, and you're also trying to cast aspersion if there is any kind of interference. And do get the point that there are certain volatile areas, and especially if you talk about Manipur, given the fact that the kind of violence you've seen in the past 1 year, the border is very porous with Myanmar. So the very fact, and talking about Manipur, please correct me, please correct me. There are two seats, and two seats would have two separate elections in two phases. But one particular constituency will see polling twice.
Yeah.
How is this possible? It has never happened in the history, I guess.
You see, this election commission has a uphill task in Manipur. How are they going to deal with Manipur? Manipur is still in a situation of crisis. There is zero law and order there. How on earth are they going to conduct that election? Whether they do the same constituency over 2 days or they do one polling booth per day, I don't care. The fact of the matter remains that in Manipur, there are people who will not be able to go and cast their vote at the addresses where their names are registered in the polling booth. How are they going to address that issue? Free and fair
Yes.
elections. My
And
foot,
also,
that's really my foot. They are not going to be able to do it.
okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me, ma'am? Can you hear me?
I think I'm on hold.
No, you're not on hold. I can hear you. So
Okay.
basically, Uh, okay, let me just communicate this to my producer. Whoever is my producer, Oniket or Titash, please don't use this channel for further calls. Now, I'm in conversation with ma'am. Titash, if you can hear me, don't use your phone call with for further calls now. We are in this conversation. This call would get disconnected. So once I'm through with ma'am, only then we would add our further guests. So going back to elections now. Going back to elections. We have spoken about Manipur, and I would also try and connect with other Manipur journalists also to get a fairer idea. Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir. People have been asking when would election happen in Jammu and Kashmir,
State
and it is
assembly, right?
and also it is not like simultaneous elections not happening. Andhra Pradesh, Sikkim, Orissa, you have simultaneous
Arunachal,
election.
Arunachal,
Arunachal Pradesh, 4 states would see simultaneous election.
five. I think it's 5 states.
Okay, but no Jammu and Kashmir.
Yeah, yeah.
And the election commission says that security is a concern and deployment of forces could be a concern. Do you find that convincing? Would you buy that argument?
See, it is already under. Jammu and Kashmir is not normal. Kashmir Valley is certainly not normal. There is absolutely no way in which what you have is one part of the Indian state which has been put under military rule, effectively. That is not a civilian administration there. So,
Okay.
like in Manipur, where one half of Manipur is not under civilian administration, God knows what kind of administration there is there. Similarly, in Jammu and Kashmir, the situation is very bad. And
Hmm.
therefore, I question this election commission's ability to hold free and fair election when it says that it what on earth is it trying to say? In Manipur, is it saying that there's going to be an interference from someone else in the election process? Name them. Let the external affairs minister answer. There has to be some accountability for this massive expenditure. I mean, no, drones are not easy to handle. They're not playthings. Therefore, all of this, somebody is accountable. We need explanations.
Comments. Right, and also Jammu Kashmir. I'm also trying to connect with another journalist from Jammu and Kashmir to get a sense of the ground. But with you, before I let you go, I know I have to let you go in a couple of minutes from now. I want to go back to electoral bonds. I want to go back to money power that election commission has spoken about today. What do you think the election commission would be doing or is expected to do now to walk the talk? Because 3,400 crore is not a small amount if being seized from 11 assembly elections in the past assembly elections. And also the very fact that election commission is making such a disclosure, not dismissive of the fact that electoral bond issue is there in Supreme Court and usko leke bahut zyada charcha ho raha hai. So the electoral bond issue is definitely a very pertinent issue when it comes to elections, no matter elections are being announced or not. So what do you think the election commission should definitely do at this point to earn the trust of the people and
They can't.
ensure that, okay,
I'm sorry, I'm being very blunt. And that is because I've run out of patience on this. We all know the creative ways in which election expenditures are managed. You know it on the ground. I know it on the ground. I've been seeing it. I've been seeing poll expenditure grow, increase exponentially over the last 40 years. And in the last 10 years, 15 years, I've seen it grow even worse. I am looking at an an election system today where the election commission is happy to allow parties, and I don't know how, road shows managed by event management companies with hired troops of people. There's a parade every time Amit Shah or Mr. Modi arrives on the scene and goes through a city. I mean, quite apart from the security expenditure, there is this expenditure for spectacle. What is the election commission doing about it? It's all very well to say we are going to do something about muscle power and money power. Money power in the election commission's
YouTube
list
comments.
is reduced to sewing machines, cash, saris, and some other stuff that he mentioned, pressure
Hmm.
cookers.
Hmm.
Does he think that we are children? Why didn't he mention the alcohol and the cash handouts?
Also, quickly, ma'am, before I let you go, so 46 days of our life from now,
Hmm.
completely dedicated to elections. Yours, mine, everyone who would be joining this broadcast as journalists. Have you noticed something? Punjab election is happening in the last phase,
Hmm.
and that too in single phase.
Hmm.
And Punjab is the same place from where you have the maximum contribution as far as the farmer protest is concerned.
Yeah.
Is it a concerted effort to ensure that any protest or any jhamela emerging out of Punjab doesn't interfere with the rest of the poll process, and especially keeping in mind the interest of political parties, giving fair chance to political parties to keep Punjab aside? देखा जाएगा बाद में क्या हो रहा है, लेकिन उसका असर दूसरे राज्य के चुनाव में नहीं होना चाहिए.
Well, the first impact of the farmers' protest will be felt in UP. Why? Because if you notice this time, Tamal and your viewers, I'm so sorry.
No worries.
My the allergy is still refusing to go away.
We do expect people coughing in live broadcast. We don't expect shairi in a press conference.
Right. Thanks. But very quickly, the thing is, UP. If you look at how they have phased the elections, they start in Western UP and then end up in Eastern UP. So they are going from west to east. West is where the farmers' protest is happening.
Hmm.
Let's see how it works out there. The
Hmm.
impact of that will be on Madhya Pradesh
You know,
and
we will
Haryana and
talk.
Punjab.
Hmm. We will talk about issues, specific issues in days to come. But today, now that the election dates have been announced, seven phase election, Bengal, Uttar Pradesh, and Bihar will go through polling in every single phase. Is it advantage BJP or advantage the political party, the ruling party of a state, or any other opposition party trying to maximize their strength in those respective states? Specifically, Bihar, which has seen a new palti in political arena. So do you think in Bihar, seven phase election is advantage BJP or it is advantage RJD and Congress alliance?
It is certainly advantage RJD. And let me say that you are talking about Congress and RJD alliance. There is a third. Why we have turned them into a ghost, I don't know. But there is a left also as part of that alliance, and the left is an important part of that alliance.
Very true.
Therefore, that is where the more time you have to connect with your roots, the better advantage it is for these smaller parties.
For the smaller parties. Okay. Do you think 2021 assembly election in Bengal gave advantage to Trinamool Congress and Mamta Banerjee because it happened in 8 phases?
Yeah, it did.
Because so far the narrative had been or the discourse had been that प्रधानमंत्री को अपनी सुविधा से कैंपेन करना था, इसीलिए उसी तरह चुनाव सजाए गए थे.
But the campaign is not what an election is all about.
Hmm.
You have to mobilize the voter. You have to go there. Yeah,
Organization.
yeah. You have to get the vote out. So in that, with the kind of limitations that smaller parties have,
Hmm.
a longer time that it takes, the the better they can work. Is I guess
Oh,
what I.
okay, so Shikha Mukherjee, I know you were very angry today, and uh, you were very angry today, and I am sure I'll catch up with you on a day when you are a happy mood and you have happy discussions on issues which are very important for the election, so that you keep reminding political parties, hey, Look what the Chief Election Commissioner has said. That no hate speech, talk about things which are in the interest of the country, interest of the people. चुनाव हेल्दी डिस्कशन से होना चाहिए, ये रिमाइंड करवाने के लिए आपसे बार बार जुड़ेंगे. मैम शिखा मुखर्जी, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर
Thank you
योर
so
टाइम.
much. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for your time. So from one chapter, we now move on to the other chapter. And the other chapter is Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir is very, very significant. Jammu and Kashmir, as a matter of fact, is very emotive, an issue. You talk to every Indian, any Indian, and you ask that person about Jammu and Kashmir, even if the person has gone to Jammu and Kashmir or not, there is a different kind of an emotion that works. And there is also a different kind of an emotion that works for the people who are there in Jammu and Kashmir, who has to live in Jammu and Kashmir. And for them, it is simply not the emotion of patriotism, but it is also coupled with pragmatic ideas as how to ensure that nothing comes in the way of the patriotism or the feeling of patriotism. So Jammu and Kashmir is very, very significant. We will now be focusing on Jammu and Kashmir. And before I add Mir Farid, a very senior journalist and a reputed man from the Valley, I want to play the soundbite of our CEC when he was asked this very pointed question that if you are holding simultaneous election, producer, I hope you're ready. While you're holding simultaneous elections, and you're holding elections in Odisha, Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, and Andhra Pradesh, why aren't you holding simultaneous election in Jammu and Kashmir? To which this is what Rajiv Kumar had to say. Hear it out.
और पार्लियामेंट में चुनाव कराने के लिए हम जेएनके के सभी पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज ने हमसे कहा ऑल कि आप हमारा चुनाव पार्लियामेंट के साथ करेंगे. वी रेस्पेक्ट दैट और हम समझते हैं कि हमारी ड्यूटी है हम उसे कराएं. सारी एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव मशीनरी ने टुगेदर एक स्वर में कहा कि सर हम एक साथ नहीं करा सकते. हमने पूछा क्यों, तो उनका आंसर था कि जब असेंबली कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी के चुनाव साथ साथ में होंगे तो एक असेंबली में लगभग 10 से 12 कैंडिडेट खड़े होंगे. सो 90 इंटू 12 करीब 1000 कैंडिडेट हो गए. और जेएंडके में सिक्योरिटी की वजह से हर कैंडिडेट को कम से कम 2 सेक्शन फोर्स प्रोवाइड करनी पड़ती है. 2 सेक्शन फोर्स का मतलब हो गया कि हमें करीब 1000 के बीच में 450-500 लोगों की कंपनीज की जरूरत और एक्स्ट्रा पड़ेगी. वो इतने बड़े देश में इस समय में सिक्योरिटी रीजंस में प्रोवाइड नहीं था. बट वी स्टैंड कमिटेड कि हम जैसे ही ये चुनाव खत्म होते हैं उसके तुरंत बाद, क्योंकि फोर्सेस की हमारे पास अवेलेबिलिटी हो जाएगी, हम चुनाव जल्दी से जल्दी वहां कराएंगे.
Well, so there you heard the Chief Election Commissioner, and he categorically said that it's because of security reasons why we are not being able to hold these simultaneous elections in Jammu and Kashmir. But we would be holding the election very soon. As soon as this gets over, we will then be holding election without giving a commitment of time or a time frame. Joining us in this conversation, in this live broadcast, is Mir Farid. Please add him on the screen. मीर भाई कैसे हो आप?
बढ़िया बढ़िया बढ़िया. और आपने मतलब गाड़ी चलाते चलाते हमें पकड़ लिया, तो इसलिए हमने गाड़ी साइड पे लगा के, तो आपको बढ़िया उतना फ्रेम नहीं मिलेगा. आई एम सॉरी फॉर दैट.
बहुत दिन हो गया मीर भाई आपसे बात किए हुए, बहुत दिन हो गया आपसे मिले हुए. एंड फॉर द व्यूअर्स हु आर नाउ जॉइनिंग अस, just to give you a sense to our background, Mir Farid and I have worked in one organization for a very long time, and he's a very senior journalist, senior to me as well. And I haven't seen somebody covering Jammu and Kashmir as extensively as he has gone to situations from where I was literally sitting on the edge of my sofa and watching those stories, and I've always admired him for the kind of work he has done. Now, the way I have left that organization, he has also moved on. I'm here, and he has lot happening in his life. More news will be coming out from his life very soon. मीर भाई, सवाल साफ साफ है. Was Jammu and Kashmir expecting simultaneous election this time?
Well, if you ask me personally, I was not, because there are various reasons for that. I will touch that, but obviously the jobless politicians. You talk of Umar Abdullah, the Mehbooba Muftis. They were desperate to have elections for obvious reasons, because इतने सालों से वो disempowered हैं, jobless हैं. तो उनको जो है they were expecting, because they met the election commission, full election commission was here, and they told them in no uncertain terms ki we want elections. We'll be happy if you conduct simultaneous Lok Sabha and state and UT elections, and it will be like the beginning of one India, one election. So they were very hopeful. But why I wasn't hopeful, as someone who has observed or who has covered election and who has seen how things, earth-shattering changes have happened in the last 5 years, especially after abrogation of Article 370, because you have to understand that a lot of effort has gone into changing the ground situation in Jammu and Kashmir. There has been an absolute free hand for security agencies to bring change, end separatism, do an assault on the complete ecosystem of separatism. You talk of militancy, you talk of separatists, etc. And that has happened. I mean, I don't know, Tamal, whether you have followed Jammu and Kashmir. I mean, very carefully in the last 4-5 years. You would have seen an absolute free hand. The separatists have been jailed. The financial network that was here since ages, you talk of Hawala network, that was the oxygen for anti-India activities, that has been choked. So a lot of effort has gone into that. And now, if you have, I mean, the fear of BJP government is that if you have, say, you give the government to the National Conference or the PDP, will that mean that whole good work will be reversed? And because a lot of, as I said, it is a lot of energies and a lot of stuff has gone into it in the last 5 years. The government has also attracted a lot of criticism as well. So that is also one aspect. Then obviously Farooq Abdullah just moments back spoke, and he was obviously disappointed that there won't be no simultaneous elections. But he did say that is it that the BJP thinks that the ground situation is not fertile for it? For better, I mean, election prospects for the Bharatiya Janata Party in Jammu and Kashmir. Probably because of that, they are delaying the elections. But I think it is more to do with the security situation, in the sense that they do not want Jammu Kashmir, or especially Kashmir, to change. No. From what they've invested a lot in changing the ground situation. Separatism is down, stone pelting is down, terror-related incidents are at its lowest. So would they risk by doing an election, or by happening, if an election happens and if, say, Umar Abdullah or Mehbooba Mufti comes to power, will all that good work of last 5 years get reversed? So that is a big question. Probably that is also affecting the final decision on Jammu Kashmir elections. And then obviously there would be the political side of it as well, which the NC and PDP are trying to point towards. So all these things really are probably, for me, are delaying this decision, and it will be very interesting to see how it pans out after Lok Sabha elections.
But Mir Bhai, there is no guarantee whether the election happens tomorrow, day after, or in 6 months or 7 months, or by end of the year, that BJP would come to power. There is no guarantee.
Absolutely. There is no guarantee. But as I said, that is purely looking at it through the political prism, through the prism of the fact that who will come to power, who will not come to power. What I'm trying to make a bigger point, that the Modi government has always said that Jammu Kashmir for them is beyond politics. It's about national interest. It's about keeping Jammu Kashmir peaceful. And for that, after Article 370, the kind of steps that have been taken have no parallel in history. I mean, the kind of iron hand approach towards separatists, against terrorism, and all sorts of stuff that has gone on in the last 5 years. Free hand to agencies like NIA, SIA, Enforcement Directorate, and you have seen, I mean, so much has happened, and it has resulted in things changing on the ground. I mean, you would have noticed that when we were working together, there was not a single day when there used to be no incident of stone pelting or encounters or attacks on security forces. That has definitely come down. So obviously, all that work that is going on has impacted situation on the ground. So is it that the Modi government is looking at Jammu and Kashmir purely through the security prism, through the fact that they do not want the ground situation that has changed, the work that is ongoing, to get disrupted, to get reversed, and probably that's why they are delaying elections. Then part two could be, obviously, they do not feel politically the situation is conducive for the BJP, ऑब्वियसली कि उनका जो है वो अच्छे उनको वोट मिले या उनको जो है ग्राउंड जो इलेक्टोरेट है उनके साथ है नहीं है. That is another consideration, but quite clearly now, more than the security issues, it is there is something else that obviously, I mean, as they say that it is not meeting our eye. There could be something else that is going on, especially as far as the point that I raised. But the political parties here are feeling disempowered, they're jobless, so they want these elections to happen. And even Lok Sabha elections for them is a big step, because imagine a politician remaining out of power, out of elections, out of the political process for 5-6 years. How would he feel? I mean, we know how important power and remaining in this business is for a politician. So that is the feeling right now of the NC, PDPs, the Apni parties of this place, and they are really desperate that there should be an election process. And they were very hopeful and desperate that with Lok Sabha they would have seen the assembly elections as well. That is not happening, but they're still hopeful that probably after the election, the Lok Sabha election, as the chief election commissioner has said, that there would be elections. Though I am still skeptical that that may not happen immediately, but he has said it, and we'll have to wait and see whether that really translates into action on the ground. Yeah.
But Mir Bhai, tell me something. You are saying the political leaders are now wanting to have election. They're desperate for election. They have been away from power for way too long. Understandable. But what about people? जनता क्या कह रही है? उनकी मन की बात आपसे बेहतर कौन जानेगा? आप उधर पे है, लोगों से बात कर रहे, तो थोड़ा बताइए कि what are the people of the UT, Jammu and Kashmir, what are they saying? Do they want election? Do they want to become a state once again? Because that too has been a demand, that if everything is normal in Jammu and Kashmir, when will statehood be conferred once again? Union Home Ministry said very soon. When? No time commitment. So now that you are getting into Lok Sabha election would also happen in Jammu and Kashmir. What are the people of the region saying?
Well, if you talk of the man on the street, you'll have to go back in history. I mean, if you look at the voting percentages of the previous elections, you talk of 2014, 2009 state, and 2008, I think, state or assembly elections, and then Lok Sabha elections as well. The voting percentages were very dismal. I mean, there were some constituencies that reported around 2, 3, 4% of voting. So that obviously tells you that previously the people were in a way delusioned with the political process. There was very little acceptance for the PDP National Conference, other than their traditional strongholds, where obviously they were already expecting good voter turnout. So for the man of the street who's been absolutely battered by the turmoil of the last 30 years, where, I mean, most of the time, common man really wanted a peaceful life. He was yearning for dignified, peaceful life where there would be like good education for his kids. He wanted schools to remain open more. He wanted a good, independent economic life. So for him, political process was the last thing he would think about. No. I'm purely talking of a non-political person, a common man who wants a normal life. So आज भी उसके लिए वही parameters हैं, because he is still, I mean, I spoke to quite a few people. They're still delusioned about the political process. They still feel कि, the Mehboobas, the Umar Abdullahs of this place have failed to deliver in the past. I mean, on multiple fronts, not only on the development front, but also about various other issues that they have not been able to deliver. So it really doesn't matter to them if say there are elections and maybe there is a local government. So what will it change in their lives? The fundamentals of a good life are still shaken for them. Although, as I said, last 4 5 years, slowly things are changing. The uncertainty around the situation for a common man, if he moves out of his home, he was there was, I mean, 5 years back he would think that probably kuch ho na jaye, patthar na chal jaye, goli na chal jaye, घर वापस आएंगे कि नहीं, उसका बच्चा स्कूल गया है, will he be safe, will he come back? So those are the concerns of the common man. Now things have definitely changed. At least security wise, he's feeling much better since stone pelting is not happening. Attacks have calmed down. So slowly, I mean, the trust is building on the situation. But as far as the political process is concerned, yes, there is a certain section that feels disempowered. But a large section, let me tell you, still thinks that elections or no elections, it won't affect him much. It won't really better his life in many ways. So that delusionment is there, and these political parties will have to do a lot. Umar Abdullah's, Mehboob Mufti's, to attract the people towards elections again, to restore their faith in the political process, to tell them that all is not lost. Once there is a local government to cater to their issues, to the developmental issues, to the political vacuum that is there. So a lot needs to be done as far as the loss of trust in political leaders is concerned. So that really is the feeling. But again, I mean, it is Kashmir. Once the elections come closer, maybe things may change. Maybe you'll see a better turnout. But this is really the sense and the mood of the common man.
Mir bhai, I also need to understand this. There had been so much of talk around abrogation of 370. You have a movie which has come out. You have seen NSA, National Security Advisor, Mr. Ajit Doval, going there, meeting with locals, having biryani, connecting with people, trying to give out a sense of bonhomie, and also trying to give out a sense that there is a confidence which has now been built up. Lal Chowk, Indian flag being unfurled, Indian, India's 15th of August being celebrated, and everything when it come on social media, when they get circulated widely, it only and only gives an impression that things are getting better in Jammu and Kashmir. And trust you me, everyone wants the best for our Jammu and Kashmir. I personally do. Peace over there is our, of course, interest. And not many people would make a comment whether somebody does politically or not, but common people generally doesn't, generally don't make some loose comment or a random comment on abrogation of Article 370 or this or that, because they know it's a complicated subject. And if you are not there, if you do not understand the history and the subject better, it's always best not to make such comments, passing comments. Thus, I want to understand from you, you are there on the ground, how much has things changed after abrogation of Article 370, and and is it absolutely normal now, or it's work in progress?
It definitely is a work in progress, though, as I said, quite a few indicators have turned from red to green. As I told you, if you remember, when we were working together, hardly a day passed when there was no stone pelting incident, or there was no encounter, or there was no attack on security forces, or there was no loose comment or controversial comment from the separatists or from the Abdullah, soft separatism from Mehbooba Mufti. But now, in the last 5 years, as I said, the change of approach from the government of India has led to a disruption in the ecosystem. Why I call it as an ecosystem is that because of the last 32 years of the conflict, 34 years in fact now, when gun raised its head and we saw violence, and the shades of violence changed, the gun changed hands, and now there has been a disruption in that, because see, it was a whole lot that was feeding on this ecosystem. There were the separatists, then there was the soft separatism of some regional political parties here, then you had the external hand for Pakistan used to, I mean, obviously support such forces, is still supporting gun violence, etc. and then you had a complete system of financial backup, no, hawala channels and other, who were very well institutionalized, and all that money was acting as oxygen for all these subversive activities. So now what the government has done is that it has hit these things, these multiple things, with an iron hand. Okay, so this was something that was not happening before 2019, and now with clear approach and freedom to the security agencies, things have changed. I mean, there is peace. There is gun violence has come down. Stone pelting has come to almost zero. So things have changed, and that obviously is something that has affected various other spheres of life. I mean, there was a not a day when you didn't used to have a shutdown call from the separatists. There used to be then followed by violence. Common man had this absolute theory that 30 साल में एक तरीके का लाइफ को एडजस्ट किया हुआ था हालात के हिसाब से, खराब हालात के हिसाब से. तो अब वो 30 साल की आदत बदल रही है. अब वो जो 30 साल में हुआ है, अब स्कूल ज्यादा खुले रह रहे हैं, गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉयज डेली जॉब पे जा रहे हैं, आपके बिजनेसेस रेगुलरली खुल रहे हैं, कोई हड़ताल नहीं हो रहा बीच में. तो एक प्रोसेस जो है चेंज हुआ है 30 साल की, एंड इट विल, एज आई सेड, स्टिल वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस. एंड व्हेन पीपल सी द फ्रूट्स ऑफ सच थिंग्स, व्हेन दे सी पीस का क्या डिविडेंड्स हैं, पीस जब एक लॉन्ग टर्म में आपका रहता है, तभी आप समझ सकते हैं कि इससे फायदा क्या है. आपके बच्चे अच्छे से पढ़ रहे हैं, आपका बिजनेस अच्छे से चल रहा है, एंड एवरीथिंग इज स्लोली टर्निंग फ्रॉम worse, bad to good. And when you see that life, you feel that life, you obviously, when you relate it with the days when there was a lot of bad activity happening, then you realize कि अच्छी जिंदगी ऐसी होती है, and then you yearn for that. So that change is slowly coming, and with I mean, as years go by, वो ज्यादा अच्छा होता रहेगा, और लोग उसमें जो है अपने आप को जो है ढालेंगे. एंड बिकॉज यू अंडरस्टैंड, यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, 30 साल तक जब आप रोज एक ही चीज देखते हो ना, तो आपके जो एक साइकी है लाइफ में, वो एक शेप ले लेती है, एक हिस्सा बन जाता है. एंड देन ह्यूमन साइकी सच की वो हालात भी जब खराब रहते हैं ना, तो आप उसको भी ढूंढने लगते हैं कि भाई छुट्टी हो गई तो आज क्यों नहीं छुट्टी हो रही, आज हड़ताल क्यों नहीं है. तो वो फेज अब उससे आगे हम बढ़ चुके हैं, और एज आई सेड, इट्स वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस. सो आई थिंक आने वाले समय में और भी मेरे हिसाब से बेटर होने वाली हैं चीजें, और लोगों के लिए फायदा है, आम इंसान के लिए फायदा है, क्योंकि एक सिक्योरिटी आ गई है लाइफ में. जो एक डर था हालात का, जो एक डर था स्टोन पेल्टिंग का, गोली का, वो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता कम हो रहा है. होपफुली वो आगे जो है और बेटर होगा, और लोग यहाँ जो है जो एक सांस ले रहे हैं चैन की, वो जो है और अच्छा उसमें होगा, जो मुझे लग रहा है. और इलेक्शंस जैसे आपने कहा, तो बीजेपी गवर्नमेंट ये भी चाहती है कि अगर इलेक्शन होते हैं और जो है महबूबा मुफ्ती या उमर अब्दुल्ला को सरकार मिल जाती, तो ये जो सारी चीजें रिवर्स ना हो जाए. जैसे मैंने पहले भी आपको ये पॉइंट कहा, तो वो भी somewhere down the line in the decision making of elections or no election Jammu Kashmir right now, that would be a major factor playing its part.
Now, before I let you go, Mir Bhai, so Omar Abdullah, Mehbooba Mufti, what are the alliance positioning now? How are alliance politics shaping up? Will BJP be fielding candidates in all the 5 seats? Jammu, Udhampur, Anantnag, Rajouri, Srinagar and Baramulla? And what about alliance? Is India alliance a reality over there?
No, India alliance तो already टूट चुका है ना. मतलब India alliance जो था, once you always had this feeling that once elections come closer, once there is discussion of seat distribution, so these politicians, especially NCPDP का साथ रहना एक litmus test होगा. तो exactly that is what has happened, because South Kashmir seat of Anantnag, Rajouri Poonch became a bone of contention, and that really led to not only India alliance, but PAGD, if you remember, after Article 370 abrogation, they made this People's Alliance for Gupka declaration, where they all vote that they will fight together to get back 370, blah, blah, blah. But now the situation is that they are all pulling their own ropes, and they are going probably independently, fighting independently, be it NC, PDP, and Congress. As far as BJP is concerned, yes, it is going on its own. I don't see any pre-poll alliance, and it is, if it had to happen, it would have already happened. And then if you talk of its chances in Kashmir, obviously, if it makes some inroads, it will be big. Because here, realistically, thinking that BJP will open its account in Kashmir, at least, it looks very difficult until and unless they don't stitch an last moment alliance with, say, the Apni Party or Sajad Lone in North Kashmir. Maybe they have a chance, but independently in Kashmir, very difficult. Jammu obviously is a very strong belt of BJP. So you have Jitinder Singh from Jammu and you have Jugal Kishore. So there are very strong chances of them pulling through. But as far as Kashmir is concerned, fight is going to be interesting, not because of BJP, but because of the regional breakup where you have NCPDP fighting against each other, and then you have new parties who also will have significant impact, like Talta Bukhari's Apni Party or Sajad Lone's People's Conference in North Kashmir. So any which way you look at it, it is going to be a very interesting election, especially after, as I said, all the shattering changes, especially the change in political landscape post delimitation and Article 370 abrogation.
Mir Bhai, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your time. But before I let you go,
Welcome.
uh, I can see little bit of a skyline peeping out from your window, car window.
Yeah,
मेरा
definitely
कश्मीर
I'll
अभी
show
तक
you.
आना नहीं हुआ, थोड़ा दिखा दीजिए एक बार. आहा, आहा,
So this
मन
is
खुश
this
हो
is
गया.
actually snow has melted. This is Shankaracharya top. You would have heard about it, Shankaracharya Mandir. So
हाँ,
ये वही पहाड़ है.
हाँ,
And this is the tributary, or should I say, flood channel of Jhelum. And that green buildings that you're seeing, uske
हाँ, हाँ,
niche, that is army cantonment. So this is basically central Srinagar, heart of Srinagar.
हाँ.
Yeah. So hopefully this will act as an advertisement for you to come finally to Kashmir, right?
I will be coming very soon. I will be coming very soon. और कलकत्ता में खड़े होके I'm sending my pranam and salam to Jammu and Kashmir. What a lovely place it is, and I
बिल्कुल
so
बिल्कुल
wish
बिल्कुल.
I had visited the
वालेकुम अस्सलाम.
the state by now, the UT by now. Okay, but I'll do that very soon. Election dates have been announced, and very soon our journey would also begin. And we will definitely try and make a stop in Jammu and Kashmir as well. Because
Definitely,
Mir bhai,
definitely. I
आपसे
hope
मिलना
and
due
I
है.
hope to. I hope to see you because you are firmly a ground reporter, boots on the ground like me, and I hope to see you here during elections, and we'll have Bazwan together. I am sure you are a non-veg.
Absolutely. And for my viewers, for our viewers, इस जगह से एक बार फिर से लाइव करेंगे दोनों मिलके. अगर उनका समय ना भी हो तो जब मैं जाऊं, मैं इसी स्पॉट से एक बार खड़े होके मैं लाइव करूंगा ताकि मैं आपको दिखा सकूं कि जो वादा मैंने किया था वो वादा मैंने रखा. Mir bhai, thank you so much for
Inshallah,
your time.
inshallah,
It was lovely
inshallah.
connecting with you, and we would keep connecting
Same
more
here.
and more because we care for each and every part of this country. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Take care.
Before I
Take
wind
care.
up, I will request my producer to pull up the election schedule graphics plate and to give you the dates once again. I'm sure you know by now. Uh, the first phase of election is happening on 19th of April. Then the second phase is happening on 26th of April. The third phase is happening on 7th of May. The fourth phase is happening on 13th of May. The fifth phase is happening on 20th of May. The sixth phase is happening on 25th of May. And the seventh phase is happening on 1st of June. And on 4th of June, it's going to be Jingalala, the results day, and the results would come out on 4th of June. 46 days, 46 days counting from today, our focus would be on elections. But as we have promised, while we cover elections, we will not only run after politicians. That is not our idea of election coverage. We would go back to the ground, we would be on the ground, speak to people, find out their stories, and ensure that people, the biggest stakeholder in this democracy, for who the election happens, who are the biggest factor in this election, their voices are heard, their stories dominate the political discourse, not hate speech, not tutu meme, not personal attacks, not things that they would want to dominate the discourse with. We want people issues to dominate the political discourse at any cost. I thank all our viewers for connecting in this live broadcast, but this is not the only one tonight. We are also trying to connect with more reporters, more analysts, more people from different parts of the country. as and when the schedule happens, we will come back on live again, again, and again. The election dates are out. You have to book your date. And as the Election Commission has also said, we would definitely request to all our viewers, there is no bigger joy than casting your vote. There is no bigger power than casting your vote. And I can tell you one small story. As I have been there on the ground covering election, एक छोटा सा गांव में था और उस गांव में एक करीबन 70 साल की एक बूढ़ी माँ से मैंने मिला और वो इलेक्शन की वोट कास्ट करने वो जा रही थी. बेली शी कुड वॉक. हाथ में एक छड़ी लेके वो चल रही थी. कमर पूरा बेंड हुआ था. तो मैंने उनको पूछा कि माँ, आपको इतना तकलीफ हो रहा है, कोई सहारा नहीं है, आप फिर भी वोट देने जा रहे हो, ये प्रेरणा है सबके लिए. तो उन्होंने कहा, किसी के लिए प्रेरणा हो या ना हो ये मुझे मालूम नहीं, लेकिन मेरे लिए ये देश सेवा है. मैं सरहद में खड़े होके जंग नहीं लड़ सकती और मैं देश के लिए टैक्स से ज्यादा कुछ कर नहीं सकती, टैक्स देने के अलावा, लेकिन मेरे लिए अपना वोट देश सेवा से कम नहीं है. और मैं आज के तारीख तक मैं वो शब्द नहीं भूल पाया और इसीलिए आज के तारीख में आपको शेयर कर रहा हूँ. बहुत सारे लोग आप मिलेंगे और ये हकीकत है. इसीलिए आज के डेट में भी कोई जगह पे आपको 100% वोटर टर्नआउट नहीं दिखेंगे. एवरेज पूरे देश में अगर देखें तो 60, 70, 80 राज्य में देखें, कुछ कुछ राज्यों में बहुत ज्यादा होता है, ईस्ट नॉर्थ ईस्ट में ज्यादा होता है, लेकिन बहुत जगहों पे अर्बन वोटर्स में ये टेंडेंसी जो सिर्फ हमारा कहा सुना नहीं, जो इलेक्शन कमीशन का डेटा भी कहता है कि अर्बन वोटर्स में एक लैकडेसिकल एटीट्यूड है कि क्या होगा, क्या फर्क पड़ जाएगा वोट डालने से, क्यों वोट डाले. And we get the point. But also understand, before you adopt the position of being condescending, have you done your part? Thus I request, no matter what your political ideology is, no matter who you support, it's your right. Make a choice. But on the election day, please, please, please go out and cast your vote. And as that Buri Ma had said, that elderly woman has said, this is nothing less than serving the country. Because after all, your vote would decide the future of the country. And it is your future that is no way separated from the future of the country. They are all intertwined and both contribute in each other's growth. Your future is dependent on country's future, and country's future is very much dependent on your future. So for the sake of India's future, your future, ensure to book the date. And before I leave, I would leave once again with the graphics plate on the screen. Go onto the Election Commission website. Go onto the Election Commission website and also come down to our website, which is www.newsthetruth.com. And over there, we will simply not give out the details of phases. We will also give out details of every constituency that would be going out on polling. Those graphics plate would also be there on our Twitter handle, which is @News the Truth. The word truth at the end has an extra H. Find us on social media. Find out your constituency as when it is going out for polling. And please, please, please book your date for the country, for democracy. That is one date with democracy you can't afford to miss. Thank you so much for watching this live broadcast. As promised, we will come back again tonight itself, as and when our other associates and most importantly, senior people you're trying to connect with are scheduled. But for now, goodbye.